everybody, and welcome to another hobby cheating video. Today we're going to talk all about a major feature of a lot of figures, especially characters and things that are special in your army or display figures, and that is cloaks. They're big, they're flat, and they're often real challenging to paint. So let's break it down. Let's get into it.
The strict technomancer that is Vinci V. Let us get to the technique and learn it Vinci V style.
So I'm painting up this amazing figure from Mindworks Miniatures. This is Morgana Le Fay, and really this is an absolutely stunning figure. I'm very excited about it. But one of the major features of this figure is her big giant cloak. She's actually holding it open. Now hers starts from more her lower back, whereas as opposed to coming off her shoulders. But all the lessons we're going to learn today would be the same regardless of whether you're talking about the full cloak, a half cloak, something that's flowing off of the waist, whatever it happens to be. The challenges that we see with this sort of shape is that it's often very large and very flat. This presents a problem for us with a lot of our traditional techniques. Things like layering with a small round brush just look crap and create tide marks in the paint. We can't really wash the surface because washes are meant for high texture areas where there's lots of changes in sort of the elevation and recesses of the figure. Not present on most cloaks unless they're extremely wavy. And so we have to very subtly modulate the light. Today I'm going to take you through the techniques of how exactly we do that, how we apply sort of these colors and then bring them together to create convincing fabric. So let's head over to the desk. Let's get painting.
Alright, so the first thing we're doing when we're going to paint a big thing like a cloak is we got to pick our midtone. Pick a nice, punchy, strong, saturated midtone. That's going to be my Signature Series Royal Purple for me here. Then we want to pick two shadow tones. In this case, a Dioxazine Purple and a Tenebrous Gray, which is a near black. Doesn't matter what you pick. It could be the same thing with blues, greens, purples, reds. I mean, don't use black in a yellow cloak, but you pick two shadow colors that are two solid steps down. Now, when we're working on the cloak itself, here's my next piece of advice. Get a bigger brush. Bigger than that. This is a big, cheap synthetic brush. I buy these in multi-packs. This is a size 8 I'm working with here. This is the kind of thing, you can even go up to a flat brush. You often get those in big packs of brushes and we stare at them in our miniature painting world and say, what do I use this for? Hey, guess what? This is the kind of thing, but something really big. The next thing we're going to do is use the appropriate technique for this space. You want to be combining the right techniques for the right type of surface. And on a large flat surface, wet blending is your way to go. And we want to start by wet blending basically the deepest shadow up to the midtone. That will wet blend the easiest. These are all largely transparent colors. They will blend together very easily. I am grabbing a relatively sizable dollop of paint. I'm using the word dollop here. This is not thinned in any specific way. This was just squeezed out onto the wet palette. So there's a little bit of moisture in my brush, a little bit of osmosis through the wet palette. But for the most part, this is straight paint. And I am painting on the miniature. Apply the dollop and then smooth and smooth and smooth and smooth and smooth and smooth with that big brush. You want to sweep it around constantly. Work it for a few minutes and then let it dry. Get out the hairdryer if you want to speed this up, but let it dry completely. As you can see there, the paint all settled, it's all dry. When you start putting very wet layers over the top of this, you don't want to be pulling up wet paint. Now with my midtone, I'm going to identify all of the areas that are going to be highlighted as the midtone or above. Okay, so I'm not worried about anything that's going to remain a shadow. And I'm just going to block out all of these areas where I know I'm going to need to paint the midtone or higher. If it's going to end up brighter than this eventually, that's fine. But I want to focus in right now on all of those areas of the cloak, which is the upward-facing ridges and where it flares out. Remember our guide to highlighting. We highlight the top and the sticky outy bits. See my video on highlighting for more information on the top and the sticky outy bits. Now it's time to actually start applying some highlights. And when we apply highlights, you'll notice this is true for purples, for greens, for blues, for anything. When you integrate even a little bit of a brighter color, something that has white in it or something similar as I'm mixing here, it's going to immediately show extremely hard layer lines. Don't worry. That does not matter. All we are doing right here is setting our values. People focus a lot on trying to get things blended as they're working. Ignore that. Make it look like crap. We will blend later. There will be plenty of time for that. The much more important thing at this stage is to set the light, to push the contrast, and to get your values where they need to be, including placing the volumes where they should be. That's most important.
Now look, at this point it looks like crap. As you're applying these initial highlights, you're going to see these very hard layers. With almost any cloak we do, if we start integrating brighter colors on these big large flats, it becomes very easy to see the layer lines between it. Don't worry. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. Sometimes we've got to make something look like crap before we make it look awesome. This is one of those times.
You're going to need to adjust volumes, place highlights as you work, and that's the thing. That's why I'm not worried about blends, because at this stage, I honestly am not sure exactly what I want highlighted. But let me talk about the next error I see all the time on cloaks. People on soft, rounded cloaks that have these smooth transitions around, they'll have these
There we go. Her cloak is all done. I'm very excited that we managed to get that this particular component painted up. I'm still working on her, but I'll share some pictures here of what that looks like. Overall, she's just a tremendously fun figure to paint. A lot of really nice volumes. And I've been having a great time. If you want to check her out, check out Mindworks Games. I'll link it down below. They have a whole bunch of really amazing miniatures. And I just really enjoy their line. I've got a couple of them, so you might see some more of these miniatures coming up real soon. But for today, thank you so much for watching this. If you liked it, hey, give it a like. Subscribe for additional hobby cheating in the future. Remember, we have new videos here every Saturday. If you've got any questions, drop those down below. I always answer every question asked. As always, if you want to support the channel, you can do so through the Patreon link down there. We also launched a new game. Uncle Adam and I have a brand new game out, so if you are a wargamer and interested in that sort of thing, the link for that down there is down there as well as our previous two games, Space Station Zero and Reign in Hell. So, thank you so much. Very much appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.